What if the person clapping the loudest for you is secretly hoping you trip? Most people believe that friendship means support, that the people closest to you want to see you rise. But the disturbing truth is this: some of the people who smile at your success are quietly wounded by it. Few people realize that envy doesn't always look like envy. It wears the mask of concern. It disguises itself as advice. It hides behind jokes that sting a little too much, or silence that lasts a little too long after you share good news. Carl Jung once warned that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves, and the reverse is also true. What irritates them about you often reveals far more about their inner world than yours. This is not about paranoia. This is not about trusting no one. This is about awareness. The kind of awareness that protects you from slow betrayal, from energy drained by people who call themselves friends, from ambition quietly sabotaged by those closest to you. In this video, we'll uncover 7 hidden signs that someone close to you may be threatened by your growth, and exactly how to respond without losing your peace, your power, or yourself. Stay until the end. The final insight is the one most people never see coming. Section 1. The friend who goes quiet when you win. When you share good news, most people expect celebration. But pay attention to the silence that sometimes follows. Most people misread this silence as shyness, distraction, or simply a bad day. They make excuses for it. The hidden psychological truth is different. Silence after your success is often the sound of someone recalculating their own self-worth against yours. The deeper motivation is rarely cruelty. It is fear. Fear that your rise exposes their stagnation. Schopenhauer observed that we measure our own happiness largely by comparison, and comparison, when it fails us, breeds quiet resentment instead of joy. Picture the friend who lands a promotion and tells the group chat. One person responds with 3 paragraphs of excitement. Another responds an hour later with a single word. That delay is not nothing. It is data. The memorable insight here: people don't always sabotage you with words. Sometimes they sabotage you with the absence of words. Section 2, the backhanded compliment. Wow, I didn't think you had it in you. Most people laugh this off as a joke. It is rarely just a joke. The hidden meaning behind a backhanded compliment is a private confession dressed as praise. It confesses surprise. And surprise implies they had quietly underestimated you, sometimes hoping their estimate was correct. The emotional motivation is ego protection. If they believed in your limits, and you exceeded them, something inside them has to adjust. Backhanded compliments let them praise you without fully admitting they were wrong about you. Think of the sibling who says, "Guess things finally worked out for you," after years of doubting your path. Or the coworker who says, "Lucky timing," about a result you built for months. Nietzsche described resentment as a poison the resentful drink themselves, believing it harms someone else. The backhanded compliment is that poison, sweetened just enough to be swallowed in public. The insight to remember: when praise leaves a strange taste, trust the taste more than the words. Section 3, the friend who discourages your risks. Someone who constantly warns you about risk may sound protective. Most people interpret this as love. Sometimes it is love. But sometimes it is something quieter and less flattering to the speaker. A fear that if you change, the relationship changes, and they get left behind. The hidden psychological pattern here is projection. People low in confidence about their own ability to change often project that doubt outward, dressing it as caution for you. The deeper emotional driver is abandonment fear. Your growth implicitly threatens the comfort of staying the same together. Consider the friend who discourages you from starting a business because it's risky, while never having taken a risk themselves. Or the parent who discourages ambition not from malice, but from a private terror of losing closeness with a child who outgrows them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people's opinions about his path were not obligations he had to obey. Their fear is information about them, not instruction for you. The lesson: discouragement dressed as wisdom should always be questioned, especially when it conveniently asks nothing of the person giving it. Section 4, The Comparison Trap. Some people cannot mention your success without mentioning someone else's. That's great, but did you hear what she just achieved? Most people think this is harmless conversation. It is rarely harmless. The hidden function of constant comparison is dilution. By immediately placing your win next to a bigger win, the speaker quietly shrinks the space your success occupies in the room and in your own mind. The motivation beneath this habit is status anxiety. If your achievement stands alone, it might mean something. If it's instantly compared, it stays small enough not to threaten their own position. This shows up at family dinners when one relative's achievement is met with a story about a cousin's bigger achievement. It shows up at work when your project is praised, then immediately followed by, of course, the other team's project saved more money. Jung called this the shadow at work, unacknowledged insecurity steering behavior from just beneath the surface, invisible even to the person doing it. The insight: a person who can never let your win exist alone is often unable to let their own insecurity exist alone either. Section 5, The Friend Who Disappears During Your Growth. Some friendships fade not during your failures, but during your transformation. Most people assume distance means busyness. Sometimes that's true. But often, distance is a quiet verdict. The hidden truth is that personal growth changes the unspoken rules of a relationship. If two people once bonded over shared complaints, shared stagnation, or shared smallness, one person's growth can feel like betrayal of an unspoken agreement. The motivation is identity threat. Your change forces a mirror in front of them, and not everyone wants to look. Think of the friend group built around venting about unfulfilling jobs. When one person finally leaves for something better, the group's silent contract is broken, and the friendship sometimes breaks with it. Stoicism teaches that we are not responsible for the reactions of others to our own becoming. Epictetus separated what is within our control, our effort, our character, from what is not. Other people's reactions to it. The memorable truth: not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next version of yourself. Some people were only cast for an earlier scene. Section 6, The Just Joking Insult. A joke that targets your ambition, your appearance, or your dreams, followed quickly by "I'm just joking," is rarely just a joke. Most people accept the disclaimer at face value, because challenging it feels like overreacting. The hidden psychological function of just joking is plausible deniability. It allows a real feeling to be expressed without consequence, hidden behind humor's protective shield. The underlying motivation is often unresolved envy that hasn't found a safer outlet. Direct criticism risks confrontation. A joke risks nothing except your peace. Picture the friend who jokes, "Must be nice having everything handed to you," about a success you built through years of sacrifice. The joke is the message. The laughter is just the costume it's wearing. Nietzsche wrote about the difference between strength that creates and resentment that merely reacts. A joke born from resentment reacts to your light by trying to dim it slightly, safely, deniably. The insight: pay attention to what people joke about. Humor often reveals the truth a person isn't brave enough to say seriously. Section 7, The Friend Who Needs You to Stay the Same. The most dangerous pattern is not loud sabotage. It is quiet pressure to remain unchanged. Most people call this loyalty, staying true to where you came from. The hidden truth is that some people don't want you loyal to your roots. They want you loyal to their comfort. Those are not the same thing. The motivation is control disguised as nostalgia. As long as you stay the same, they never have to confront their own lack of movement. This appears when old friends mock new habits. Early mornings, healthier choices, ambitious goals, calling them different in a tone that isn't admiration. Schopenhauer noted that mediocrity has nothing to fear except superiority, and so it instinctively works to suppress what threatens it, not always with malice, but with the quiet gravity of habit pulling you back toward what's familiar. The lesson: anyone who needs you to stay small to feel comfortable was never rooting for your full potential. Only for the version of you that didn't challenge theirs. The psychology behind this. Why do people behave this way? Rarely because they are evil. Usually because they are wounded. At the center of almost every quiet sabotage is the ego, fragile, comparison-driven, desperate to feel adequate in a world that constantly measures people against each other. Insecurity convinces a person that someone else's success is proof of their own inadequacy. Fear convinces them that your growth threatens the relationship as they know it. Status anxiety convinces them that admiration is a finite resource, and giving you some means losing their own share. Social comparison is built into human nature. We did not evolve in a vacuum, we evolved in groups, constantly assessing our position relative to others for survival. Jung would call the resulting behavior shadow projection. The parts of ourselves we refused to examine, acted out instead of understood. None of this excuses sabotage. But understanding it removes its power over you. A wound explains behavior. It does not require you to bleed for it. How to respond? Stay calm. Reaction fuels the dynamic, composure starves it. Don't over-explain yourself. Explanations sound like apologies to people who were never owed one. Set boundaries. Distance is not cruelty, it is self-respect with consequences. Protect your energy. Not every comment deserves your emotional investment. Focus on your mission. The fastest way to outgrow small reactions is to become too busy building something larger than their opinion of it. Modern relevance. This pattern matters more today than ever before. Social media turned comparison into a constant background hum. Every scroll is an invitation to measure your life against curated highlights of someone else's. In an attention economy, validation has become currency, and currency creates competition, even among friends. Modern relationships are increasingly performative, shaped by likes, followers, and visible milestones. This raises the emotional stakes of every success you share, and multiplies the opportunities for quiet envy to surface in comments, reactions, or silences. Emotional intelligence has never been more necessary. The ability to read what is unsaid. To notice tone, timing, and absence is now a survival skill in relationships that exist as much online as in person. Powerful ending. Here is the truth worth carrying forward. Not everyone who smiles at you is rooting for you. Not every "I'm happy for you" is free of cost. Some people will love you only as long as you stay beneath them. This does not mean you become cold, suspicious, or closed off to the world. It means you become awake. You stop mistaking proximity for loyalty, and you stop confusing comfort with care. Your growth was never required to make sense to everyone around you. The right people will not need your success explained to them, they will simply celebrate it. And the wrong people, no matter how loudly they applaud, were never the threat you imagined. Their applause was just nervous noise, covering the sound of their own stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle is the way. That what blocks us often becomes the very thing that strengthens us, if we let it. Let the silence of false friends be the obstacle that builds something Nietzsche himself would recognize, not bitterness, but strength. Walk forward. Build loudly. And let those who needed you small discover, slowly, that you were never theirs to keep that way.